And I'm also hoping that it's not offending anybody who happens to like living in New York City or any other big city. It's not the point of this video. The point of this video is why I chose to move my family down here, why me and my husband chose to bring our kid to Florida. New York just wasn't for us. It might be for you guys, whoever's watching, you know, live your life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time at the rodeo, hi, my name is Genise and this is my lifestyle channel. So if you've been watching me for the past few weeks, you will know that my family and I recently made the move from New York all the way down to Florida. It was about almost 2 months ago now, actually. And in this video, I wanted to take the opportunity to explain what my reasons for moving were. Now, when I think about my reasons for moving to Florida, they kind of break up into two groups, I've noticed. And the first group is pre-2020 reasons. We did want to move way before 2020 even happened. And then the other set of reasons happened post-2020 or during 2020. So I'm just going to go in chronological order. Reason number one that we wanted to move was the weather. So my husband and I drove down from New York and we left on the 16th. If you haven't already watched my vlog on the drive down to Florida, I'm going to link the playlist up here. Go check those out. We got to Florida on the 17th and we officially moved into our townhome on the 18th. And since then, I believe New York has accumulated over 36 inches of snow. I mean, also, this isn't necessarily weather or anything like that, but when I call my mother in New York by like 5 o'clock, 5:30, it's already dark, pure darkness. Over here we still have sunlight, and that's because I've noticed that the sun actually rises a little bit later in the morning, so then it sets a little bit later in the evening. And I'm okay with that because I would rather enjoy the sunlight while I'm awake rather than it start to rise when I'm asleep early in the morning. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So over here the sun is setting. It fully sets, I believe, by 6:20 in the evening, so it's been lovely. And I'm a person that in the winter time I do notice there's a dip in my mood, simply because I feel like the house gets dark, it gets dark outside, and it just kind of all dampens my mood. So it's been lovely here. And then it just feels like winter drags on. Like once winter moves into New York City, it's very hard to escape its claws. Reason number two that we wanted to move to Florida is because it is a slower pace here. I move at a slower pace. I like to take things calmly. I like to mull things over, think it over, maybe sometimes a little too long, but that is the way I work. It really is very fast paced in New York. I tried my best to keep up for about 33 years and I think I did okay, but I mean, enough. I had enough. Josue had enough. We're both very relaxed, chill people. We don't like to be all in the hustle and bustle of everything, and that's what New York City is. So if that's what you like, then go for it, but it's not for me. Reason number three that we decided to move to Florida from New York is because we were looking for that good old Southern hospitality. And at times it felt like New York didn't even know the meaning or the definition of hospitality. I mean, I know every place has a group of buttheads, but I feel like on average, New York has the leading number of buttheads living all in one place. And for being a place where people live in such close proximity to one another, you would think there'd be a little bit more likely to talk to each other and get to know each other, but it's not. It's like you come out of your apartment and if your neighbor comes out at the same time, it's like who can cast their eyes down to the floor and not make eye contact the quickest. And there are exceptions, like I said, there are exceptions. My mother is one of those exceptions. She will get into an elevator and start a conversation with a dog if that's the only other living thing in the elevator. So there are exceptions in New York, and there are sociable people, there are, you know, nice hospitable people, but I think again on average most people in New York are not like that. The fourth reason that I wanted to move down to Florida, and I know this probably has more to do with me than with my husband, is because I knew eventually my parents were going to be down here. And I am pretty close to my parents. There are times where we clash, but when it really comes down to it, we're a pretty compact little unit. My family is not big. by any means. I mean, I'm pretty sure that in my biological father's side, there are plenty of cousins and whatever that are out there, but I don't know them. So to think that they would be here and I'd be in a completely different state for like the rest of their lives and the rest of my life wasn't sitting well with me. So I figured, since I really want to move to Florida anyway, I might as well go and blaze the trail and, you know, be here waiting for them. Reason number 5 we wanted to move to Florida is because it is cheaper. And I know cheap is relative. So for people coming from the Midwest moving into Florida, I've seen videos where they say that it is crazy expensive here in Florida. However, like I said, it is relative, because I am coming from New York City, and you move down from New York City to Florida, it's cheap. Take this into consideration. For a house in my old neighborhood in Queens, New York, you were looking at an average of maybe about $600,000 at minimum for a little hole in the wall. And I mean this, a little hole in the wall. And compare that to the houses here in Florida. And I know everything is going a little topsy-turvy right now because there are a lot of people flooding into Florida. The housing market is going crazy. It is definitely a seller's market, not a buyer's market. I understand this, but still, you're looking at, let me see, I looked this up. I think it was according to Zillow when I looked it up. It said the average house in Florida in 2020 was $254,000 and some change. 254,000, even 300,000 compared to 600,000 for a little crappy house, and compared it to the $300,000 house you would get here in Florida, which looks beautiful, by the way. You could build up your own damn house from the ground. I mean, it's enough to just drive me nuts. Reason number 6 was that we took Annie's childhood into consideration. Back in New York City, we were living in an apartment, and it's tougher to get down to nature in New York. That is not Central Park or Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. And I don't consider that greenery at all. I mean, you still have glass all over the place. I've found needles, you know, in Central Park, and all sorts of paraphernalia happening in there. So I don't consider that, you know, a nice little green outing in New York. But comparing that to like just the patio that we have, and the fact that they can go outside of the patio and be on grass and trees and air that doesn't smell like smoke. I mean, this is what we were taking into consideration. It felt like we had a trapped animal living in an apartment. She would run from one end of the apartment to another, and most of the day she was either on her tablet or watching TV. And you come to Florida and you live in a community. A lot of these communities, they have playgrounds for the kids. They have other kids running around. Just earlier today, the lady down, maybe 2 or 3 doors down, she actually babysits some kids, and they were outside playing games in the grass, and a few of them came over and they started talking to Annie. When was she ever going to get that in New York City, living on the 7th floor? Never. Nothing's going to beat this this greenery. Nothing's going to beat being able to just on a daily basis be outside. And I do realize that the schools work differently down here. You have to really research the schools and the system and try to find something good with, you know, good teachers and just the entire system in general. I do understand that. But I would be more willing to work with my child at home, which is my duty as a parent, by the way, if it means being able to give her a better quality of life. And now for my reasons post 2020, the uptick in violence in 2020. According to this article, in 2020, by the end of 2020, New York City saw a 97% increase in gun violence, a 45% increase in murders. It's one thing to deal with rudeness. It's one thing to deal with, you know, it being expensive for what you're getting in New York, but it's a whole nother thing when you have to deal with all of that, plus be fearful that you might not make it home to see your kid again, or your kid might not make it home to see you again. If the one story that really shook me to my core and really sealed the deal for me and made me turn to Josue and be like, okay, this is over, we're going to Florida, was in July. There was a 1-year-old baby sitting in a stroller. They were sitting in a park at a barbecue in July. He was with his family, and someone just came by and started shooting at the group of people, and I believe this was in Brooklyn. They started shooting at the people, and the little baby took a bullet to the stomach while sitting in his stroller. To his stomach. There have been times that I know I didn't feel safe sometimes for myself in New York City. A group of 3 other kids at the time came and jumped me while I was walking home one night. I've been shot at. Not me physically, like it wasn't aimed for me, but I was walking home from work late one night and I just heard gunshots, and I just remember having to cower behind a one of those big, you know, like trash receptacles. I don't want to say that's fine, because it's not fine. It's not how anyone should have to live, but it was me, you know. It was just me. After having Annie and thinking of her having to do that, and thinking of the 1-year-old, that scared me. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this. And although it's number 7 on my list, the top reason we left. My mom was babysitting Annie while we used to live in New York, and after I heard that story, I remember being so scared when whenever my mom took Annie outside, because it just felt like all hell was breaking loose in New York City. And I was so scared to think that I would come home and something would have happened. Not to be that bad. I didn't want to take my kid to the park because I was afraid. I didn't want to go outside. I went from my house to my job most days, and then from my job back. And I would feel bad because Annie is a very active young girl, and she wants to go outside and she wants to play, she wants to jump, she wants to be around the other kids in the park. But mommy was too scared that someone was going to drive by and shoot her. That is why I'm in Florida, you guys. The top reason why I'm in Florida, the top reason that really pushed us, because everything pre-2020 was like, we really want to go, it would be nice. 2020 was a horrible year for so many, but for us, I feel like it was a game changer, and it gave us that extra push to get us where we wanted to be. And I by no means believe that Florida is heaven. Okay, we're still on earth. It is not heaven, I know that, but at least I'm out of hell. I know we took a little emotional detour there. I'm sorry, I honestly didn't know that was going to actually bubble up that way. Those were pretty much all the reasons that we had for moving from New York to Florida. If you have recently moved to Florida or are planning to move to Florida, I would love to know what your reasons are, so please leave them down below in the comments section. If you agree with any of the reasons why I left Florida, then go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And finally, if you're not subscribed to my channel, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button right down there below. And don't forget to hit the bell right next to it so that you can be notified of when more videos such as this one go up live on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.